Hey, good day everybody. Thanks for joining me. So if you watched last video, I went over the installation process for .NET 5 on Windows 10 environment. Now you can also do things a little differently as well. If you want to use Visual Studio 2019, you'll need to actually download and install the Visual Studio 2019 preview. So that'll give you the ability to create a .NET 5 application through some different drop downs, as well as a .NET Core application. But for our intents and purposes, we are going to be using the command line and VSCode. I think it gives you a little more of the nuts and bolts kind of feel and an understanding of how things are put together. So right now you can see I've got my command prompt open, and we're gonna run. So if I run .NET version, you can see that we've got the release candidate installed, which is great. That's what we want. So now I'm going to run .NET new console, if I can type, and we're going to pass in the flag name, and we're going to call this hello world. All right, and that's going to create us our console application. You can see there it's actually created another directory, and then in there is our project file, or that CS proj. So let's change directory into hello world. Awesome. Now we can run .NET build, and you'll see that it's going to be, it built out our project. And now we can run .NET run, and you should see, hello world, which is pretty cool, right? Okay, but we want to be able to step through and debug our code. So I'm going to open up our editor, code, and I just did that by typing code space and then a period. All right, so we take a look here. You can see we've got our bin debug folder, and here's our references, which the only reference we've got at this point is our hello world DLL. And then you can see here's our dependency JSON, which keeps our NuGet packages, etc. in there. We're not really interested in that at this point. There's the DLL and the executable, as well as the PDB, which contains any calls for the stack trace. And yeah, dev.json, that contains the information regarding our NuGet packages. And then you can see here for the runtime configuration, it's pointing towards our 5.0 release candidate. Now, if we take a look at the CS proj file, or the project file, you can see that it's targeting the .NET 5 framework, and then our program file here, we've got hello world, which is what printed out earlier here. Okay, so I didn't do any of that when we created our console lab, Visual Studio, or not Visual Studio, the .NET 5 framework created all that and stubbed that out for us. So pretty straightforward up to this point. Now, if we want to run and debug our application, we're going to need a couple of things here. So you can see on the debug or on the run, so we can hit Control-Shift-D, or you can just click on the little debug icon. But you're going to need a couple of extensions installed, or actually one extension. You're going to need to have MS.NET Tools installed, which is provided by OmniSharp. So if you come over here and just search OmniSharp, you'll see that I've actually already got this installed. But that's what you'll need to run and debug applications, .NET 5 applications in VS Code. So let's come back over here to run. You'll notice here that it says to customize or run and debug, you're going to need to create a launch.json file. So you're just going to click on this, and you'll see there's various different selections here. Even though this is .NET 5, you're going to want to click .NET Core, and you can see here that it's pointing towards our Hello World DLL. Now, I've run into issue previously with this. If you don't run the build command first and you try and create that launch.json, it can't find your DLL, and the workspace isn't set up correctly at that point, and this isn't going to work for you. So just remember, if you run into issues, you need to actually build things first using the .NET build command. So yeah, let's now, if we open up, so open up our command prompt here, and all I did was I hit Control tilde. So tilde is the funny accent character next to the 1 button. And now if we try and run, you can see, well, did we set the breakpoint? Here, let's look at our files first and make sure, yeah, set the breakpoint. Yeah, so now if we hit run, you'll see that it's going to restore and build if need be, and we're stopped at our breakpoint there. Now you can see here we've got the stack. If we had some actual variables, you could see it in the watch here. I mean, there is this one, but yeah, so hopefully you get the point from that. Please feel free to leave any comments or questions below. I'm going to incorporate this into a previous blog post I did, and I'll include that in the description as well. So feel free to check that out, and if you haven't already, please watch the previous video. Thanks again. Hey, cheers.